Good afternoon, everybody. I'll just give everybody a minute here to hop on. Hello, Myra. Hello, Samantha. Hi, Kathleen. Everybody who's hopping on, I don't see everybody's names, but welcome to everybody. We have a ShadowBox card that we're going to make today with the Art Impressions products. Hey, Tamara. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Maggie from Pincher Creek. How's everybody's week going? It's Thursday already. I can't believe how fast the week goes. Hello, Yuko. Hi, Stella. I have been doing lots of crafting this week, getting lots of projects ready, and my middle daughter is at the university today checking out an engineering program. It's very exciting. She's in grade 11. I don't know where the time has gone, not just the week. Hi, Creative Scrapbooker. February, I know, February has gone. Hi, Vicki Lynn. Hi, Sharon. So here's a look at the cute card we're going to make today. I really love this shadow box. Hi, Patty. And you could put any scene or any image really behind this. It's very easy. Your time springs forward in a couple weeks. I know. It's amazing that it's so bright out in the mornings and after, like at supper time already. Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Susan. So it's feeling like spring. Like I feel like, there's still some snow on the ground, but and we're going to get a little cold weather next week, but that's okay. Spring is coming. Hi, Claudia. All right, welcome to everybody who's popped in. This is what we're going to make today, this cute shadow box card, and it actually folds close so you can mail it in an envelope. You can mail it flat, and then when the recipient opens it up, it's got this little mechanism behind it, and it's super easy. And then they can just stand it up, and this is what they would see. So kind of a window scene, and I decided to put a few flowers. You could put a sentiment on the front as well. So I'll show you the set that we're using. The stamp set is, now that I'm looking at it, I have no idea what it's called. That's funny. I don't know if the name is here on it or if I'm just missing it. The set number is M3175. So maybe if Creative Scrapbooker is still there, or Jackie, you can just check on the name of that. I think it's something Lighthouse. So it has this really nice Bible verse that looks like a handwritten sentiment around the outside. And then you've got this pretty lighthouse, and I like that they even give you a color suggestion on the front. So I've kind of done a different color scheme. I thought that we would do a little bit of watercoloring with some zebra pen click art markers. Hi, Katie. And we would create almost like a sunset or sunrise in the background. And then this is the ShadowBox series. So with this, there's the ShadowBox series dies, which comes with that mechanism. It comes with a square die, the window, a little window box, and a little hello. This is a card that I had made previously with this. You can kind of see I made this one a side folding. And there's a whole bunch of ShadowBox stamp sets. So this one here, Sailboat Window Set. Yeah, I'm not missing that. It's for some reason it's not printed on the front there. But Lighthouse. We're going to call it Lighthouse. And then there's a whole bunch of ShadowBox series that have the images, the scene in the background, and then it even has like this tree with a die that cuts out the tree. Oh yes, the wood paper. I'll tell you who that's from. And then this is not the ShadowBox series, but it is a square set that fits into the ShadowBox. So the wood paper, let me just grab that. That is from Elizabeth Craft Designs. It's a fabulous wood pattern. So you've got a whole bunch of wood patterns in the paper pack. There's 13 designs, and they're all a really kind of a rustic, vintage looking wood. Yes, I love those window cards too, Jackie. Thanks. So we're going to use that for the background. And I have gone ahead and cut out a panel. So I've cut out this panel with this wood grain paper. I also, another little tip is I like using the 12 by 12 wood grain papers to take photos of my cards. So if you like to share your cards online, you can take the wood grain paper and then just center your card on it. If you want anything extra, like your pens or something that you used or your stamp set. And then if you take a picture, write straight down in some indirect but bright light, then you just have this really nice background. So I do have a couple sheets of that I set aside, not to cut into, but to use for backgrounds. So I used the Prism Studio nesting rectangle dies. This is the stitched nesting die set. And you can see it has this really nice fine stitching die cut right around the edge. So we're going to use that for our background. And what we'll do is we will get started on coloring our image. So I've stamped this on Bristol smooth vellum cardstock. I do find that works really well with the click art markers. You can also use the Vicki Boutin Foundations paper. It has a really smooth vellum surface. The Lavinia Stamps watercolor paper is also a really nice smooth one. And you do need that to get these to move. I find that regular watercolor paper, it's tough to get them to move. You would have to scribble off to the side, and we are going to do a little bit of that technique. But if you have the smooth paper, you're really going to get a nice watercolor image, and it's nice and smooth to stamp on. So I've gone ahead and stamped this image onto a piece of that Bristol Vellum Smooth cardstock. I have a water brush here. This one is from Tonic Nouveau. Then I always have a piece of paper towel. Set that here. Actually, we'll do this so I can see what colors I used and I don't have to come up with the colors again. And then I've got the zebra click art markers. So there are 3 sets right now that are available in the zebra pen website. And there's a Canadian website, there's a US website, and they are available worldwide. But these markers are really cool because they have this click function, and they're just a water-based marker. My daughter actually in high school, she uses them to make little flashcards for studying, and she writes lots of notes. So they actually do have a really fine tip. Let me just grab a piece of paper and I can show you. So they're really fun just to have if you do any journaling or you just want to write your grocery list in a pretty color. They are really nice. But because they're water-based, I thought that I would try using them for watercoloring, and they work really nicely. You just have to make sure you have a paper that's good. It's going to move around that ink is going to move around. So you click it to open it, there's no cover, and then you click it to close it. And I've had these for 3 years and they've never dried out. Actually really great. And let me just check and see if there's any comments. Jackie's linked to the Prism Studio. And then, yeah, you can definitely check with your local scrapbook store. They'll be able to get any of the Prism stuff through their distributors. And Jackie's also linked the Art Impression ShadowBox window die set. That's perfect. And I feel like I missed something, but no, I don't think I did. All right, so we are going to go ahead and color this in. This is really quick and easy. And I think I was telling you there's 3 sets. So this is the standard that I've just got here in this little cup. And then I've got the light and the dark sets. So there's 36 right there. Lots of colors. You can blend them. So we are going to start by doing the water. I usually, if I'm adding red, I try to add red at the end because I find that red is quite strong, and if it bleeds at all, then it's hard to move it. So if I do it at the end, I know I'm not going to smudge it. And I think a lot of people do that, whether you're coloring with Copics or any kind of red marker. Sometimes it's a little tricky. So the blue, and this is so easy. If you are, if you struggle with any kind of coloring, blending, this is so easy. So literally, this is the water. And these images are so nice for watercoloring. Art Impressions also has a lot of videos on their YouTube channel that have beautiful samples and lots of tutorials. So when I'm coloring these, I think of this as one of those paint with water sheets. So do you remember those where you would take them and it had the kind of the little dots throughout, and then you would just paint over it with a paintbrush or the line around it, and you would just pull the paint in? Basically, I'm just adding my ink around the edges. And then I'm just going in with my water brush that I should have cleaned off, but that's okay. Then I'm going in and I'm pulling this paint out. There's nothing difficult about this. And where you initially lay down the color, that's going to be the darkest area. So if I decide I want, it's kind of my shadow, I don't really worry about where shadows are coming from or anything. I just want a little bit of darker area and a little bit of lighter area. And that is how easy that is. Hi, Pamela. Oh, Jackie's linked the zebra click art markers. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Helen. I don't know what Helen said, but let us know if there was something we missed. And then the clouds. So the clouds, we can even do the same color. Now we don't want to have like totally blue clouds so that they look like the water. Really, all I want to do is the outline. And these markers work well when you watercolor smaller areas and work on those areas. So all I'm doing is almost like tracing over with the water brush just to soften that color, and that's done. And then we can come in and do, usually what I do is if I have an area that I watercolored and it's a little bit wet, then I would just give it a minute to dry and kind of move to a different spot. Or you could have your heat gun and just give it a little bit of a heat. But we're just going to kind of jump around and let those areas dry for a minute. I'm going to take a green and I'll do the tree because that's over here. Does anybody use watercolors? Do you like watercoloring? All right, so let's do our tree, and we're just adding a little bit of scribbly ink right around our tree. So you do want to focus on one area at a time. And if you are using your click art marker, don't feel like you have to close it every time. They are very hardy, and they're not going to just dry out. All right, so that's our tree, and then we'll do a little bit of this marker as well on the grass. If I was to lay down the color and just leave it and walk away and come back later, this color probably wouldn't move at all. So that's why I just want to do one spot at a time. And you don't have to move super quick, but just to understand that if you leave it, you're not going to be able to come back and get it to move. You might be able to add more color on top and then pull it out, but you just want to do one at a time. And it is literally so easy. There's so many fun things that you can do with these markers. Okay, so we'll do our grass. Hi, Sandy. Katie enjoys watercoloring. Inks, paints, markers, pencils. Awesome. And Pamela uses watercolors. This is by no means any kind of fancy watercoloring, I'll tell you that. But sometimes you just want to sit down and play with your product and do something that looks nice. I'm going to wait and do the brown. What we'll do is do a little bit of gray. And it is sometimes nice if you don't have to worry about like overthinking things. So the lighthouse, I want that to be primarily white, but I'm going to use the gray as my shadow. I don't want to color the whole thing in gray, so all I'm doing is going over that marker line. Then I'm going to wipe off my brush, and I'm just softening that, and by actually wiping that off, I can lighten this, but I'm still getting that little bit of shadow. And then I can just leave it like that, and we've got, it still looks white, but it looks like we've added a little bit of shadow, and it just looks pretty. So we may as well do our rocks. We'll come back with our gray. I love this lighthouse. I'm originally from the East Coast, and I'm living on the West Coast almost, well, in Alberta, and I still love anything that's like seaside or oceanside. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit. So I traced around that, and then I'm going to add a little bit more in just areas that I feel like I want a little bit darker. These are also really easy to bring with you if you're going to a crop, or if you are going to like your kids' soccer games or something like that. Sometimes I'll just stamp some images, throw my water brush and a piece of paper towel and my markers in a bag, and often I'll take just a clipboard from the dollar store, and then I can sit there and color while I'm at an event. Okay, so now we'll do this pretty background. And because I don't want to scribble on here, and it's a larger space, so if I scribbled on here, I might have the marker marks and it might not blend as nicely as I want it to blend. So what I'm going to do is blend off to the side. You're from Eastern Ontario, Pamela? Nice. What is your weather like? You have every kind of marker in your large bucket. I love it. What water brush do I like? This one I use quite a bit. This is a Nuvo tonic one, and I think there might have been one in the pack. I tend to lose what I don't know where the water brushes go. I do need to order another pack because I think there was one that was a little bit thinner. Yeah, this is the medium, and I also like having the thin one. But I know there's lots of water brushes. I've not tried a whole lot, but this one seems to work really well. So this is the yellow, and what I want to do is scribble off to the side. Now, if you were away and you were coloring, I often do, just scribble on my package and use the packaging as a palette. So what I'm doing is just scribbling on my glass mat. I'm doing it on the side of the marker because I don't want to like press hard on the tip, but you can get quite a bit of ink down, and we might have to add some more ink. Then I want to water this down a bit. So I'm just going to squeeze the brush to add like a drip of water. Then I can mix it around. So I'm just basically making my own ink, and then I can go ahead and paint this on. So if you didn't have any paper that was working really well to move these markers around, or if you were even had just regular paper, you can use this technique as well instead of trying to color on it and it not moving. So I'm going to leave that there just in case I want to dip into it, and while that's still wet, I can come back and I'll go in with a little bit of an orange because we're doing, I guess, a sunset. We probably don't need a whole lot of orange because the orange is a bit darker, and we can even pick up a little bit of that extra water from the yellow and just mix it onto here. Add some more if you feel like you need it a little bit lighter, and then we're almost dabbing it on so that it's more of a free-flowing look instead of it's more of an organic look. And we can, put a few dots down into the bottom. And I think it's important also to remember that with watercoloring, I mean, you only have so much control over it, right? So it's good to just let go of that control. I'm not even really cleaning my brush off because this color, it's fine if it blends into one another. And you can see where that wet meets the wet, it just kind of blends together. And it by no means has to be perfect. So I think that's a pretty good watercolor sunset. We'll just wipe that up. And then we can come down here and do our path. Hello, Michelle from Australia. How are you doing? And Pamela, it's warm and melting. Your cats are mixed up. That's funny. It's been really nice here in Alberta. The weather's been fabulous. And then my daughter looked at the weather for next week, and then she said it's supposed to be like minus 27 next week. So, but I know it won't last long. So we'll just do this pathway, and I'm just adding a little bit of color again, just by the sides of the path, because that's going to be the darkest area. But we have really had an amazing winter. And then I just go over the darker areas and then blend it into the open spaces. So it's kind of not difficult at all. I'm going to use my heat gun because I want to trace that fence. And if the grass is wet behind it, then the marker might bleed a little bit. So I don't want that to happen. So I'm just giving it a little shot with my heat gun. Otherwise, I would just let it dry for a few minutes. So you can see that these markers, just being really fine and detailed, we're not going to blend this fence out. And I maybe should have done those trees before doing this, but we'll just be careful. And because these kind of dry, and once they're dried on there, they don't really move around, that's nice as well, that you don't have to worry about everything re-wetting. It would move a little bit if you were to wet it, but it wouldn't totally spread. So we've got our tree and our fence. Then we can come over here and do our roof. It's 8:30 and starting to get hot and muggy. Michelle, I guess it's your summertime, isn't it? Thanks, Brenda. That's very sweet. Hi, Karen from Manitoba. I'm using, I'm going to show you the paper. It's Strathmore Bristol vellum surface. So this works well because of that vellum surface, and it's really smooth. The markers really move nicely on it. Vicki Boutin Foundation's paper also works well, and then I've found that Lavinia watercolor, smooth watercolor paper works really nice as well. So I've got the black, and because the black is so dark, you don't need a whole lot, and you can see how that really just pulls out. And you barely have to touch that to get it to move. Now let's do our bushes here. We'll do them a little bit darker green. Yes, right now we're looking forward to summer, but not too hot. It's your skate park is melting away. It's hard to get out even for skating here because I find that it's either so cold. There's someone delivering a package, and I'm really hoping that they're going to leave it here, that I don't have to sign for anything. I'm going to see if otherwise I have to run down and sign for it. You guys just talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Okay, I'm back. Honestly, it's always when I'm live, like someone calls and there's some kind of emergency or delivery. Anyway, we're back. So we're going to color in these bushes. Oh, there we go. All right. And then that even looks cute. White, the house. The house looks cute white, but I think it looks better red. And because that was right beside it. Oh, thanks, Brenda. We're going to just give it one little shot. It doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, I think I was saying it's hard for the kids to get out skating. We have some skating areas that are not too far from us, but it's either so cold. We had like some minus 40 weather, which is ridiculous, Celsius, or it's so warm because we get Chinooks here that everything melts. So it's kind of hard to get out. Well, you can get out. If it's a day you can, you got to take advantage of it. All right, this cute little red house. This is, I guess, maybe the housekeeper's house. And we'll just put a little bit of, I mean, you could, this is very forgiving, and because it's watercolor too, and you've got it behind that little frame, if you made a mistake, it's not going to matter. All right, so while we're letting that dry, we're going to move this stuff, and then we'll put our card together. So we've got our card base. I did a top folding, but you could definitely have side folding. Then we've got some Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, the tape runner. Hi, Stephanie. And let's zoom out again so we can see everything. Yeah, these markers are really fun. I know, Jackie, just run and grab it. Oh my God. Okay, so Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. This is the Ultra Permanent Tape Runner, and it's very sticky, and I love it because nothing is going to fall apart once you get it on. So again, we use those prism stitched nesting dies, and we're just going to put that right on the front. Now we're going to go to our window die set, our ShadowBox window die set, and it comes with this little square. And I'm pretty sure it is a square too. Yeah, it is. So we can just decide where we're going to have that window, and I'm just going to eyeball it. I can kind of line it up here. It seems like even if I do measure, then I'm not really going to get anything completely straight. And I've accepted that. I've come to terms with it. So we are going to just open this up and run this through the die cut machine. I'm going to put a piece of tape on there. And I'll just run this through. I have a Platinum 6 machine, which I really like, and I find it works really well. I'm going to open up the card and just run it through. So I'll bring this over here so you can see it. I'm just going to run it through up to, I could run it the whole way, but then I'd probably have a little bit of a ridge here. So I'm trying not to move the camera, although I know it's shaking. I'm just going to run it past the die, and then I'll just back it up. So here, I'll move this so that it is not shaking. And then I can just pull this out. Okay. I have also gone in and I stamped another one of this, and I cut out around the words, and I put the words in the center. So that's not going to show because we're going to have our shadow box behind there. We also have the pieces. So we've got the frame. So that's going to go right on there. And I guess we can put this on now. If you're using a tape runner, then I like this Tonic Media Grip Mat. I find that you can easily get the tape on and it doesn't stick, on your glass mat. It just sticks, and it doesn't stick on here. So it just sticks onto your die cut, and then you can just fold it over. And just make sure nothing's sticking out on the front. Just fold that over. And I just used some brown Prism cardstock. So Prism Studio, it's Canadian, and they have a ton of different colored cardstocks that are smooth, and then they have glitter cardstock. They have a beautiful watercolor cardstock that, if you're using your watercolor paints, would work beautifully with that. So I'm just positioning this on. Okay. What I'm also, yeah, I can just rub any adhesive. If there was a little bit of adhesive there, that'll just come off. There we go. So we've got our little window. You could even just have the window and not do the shadow box in the background if you had something in the background there. But this is the little pop-up device. So this is this die that you would then just cut with white cardstock, and it has these score lines. So this is a bone folder from Prism Studio, and they've got a few different ones available. And basically we're doing a fold towards the center and then a fold back. And you do want to crease that really nicely so that when you go to fold it, it's going to stick down. Very nifty, Maggie. Oh, thanks. The coloring is easy. It's super easy. Hi, Janet. The pens that we're using are the Zebra pen click art markers that we just click, and they're great for, you know, I use them for making my grocery list and doing my planner and doing watercoloring. So lots and lots of things that they're great for. They do have quite a fine point on them. So once we get our shadow box folded, we're going to adhere this on. Actually, what we need to do first is we need to trim these out. These are some OLFA stitching scissors, and I really like them for fussy cutting. They're nice and sharp, and they're small, and they just seem to fit really nicely in your hand. So that's on the OLFA Creates website. And I'm trimming this. I could cut this with that square die, but it's a little bit larger, and I wanted to fit as much of the seam as I could. So let's see, we might have to trim this down a bit, but oh, that looks actually pretty good. So we're going to adhere this right to the center. And this is when you're used to like getting so close to things, you don't realize how close you normally get when you're trying to glue something on or color something until you have to stand back from it. Okay, let's see, how's that look? Perfect. All right, so we're going to press that down. And, oh, perfect. Jackie added the link to Zebra pens. Then we're going to take these adhesive lines. These are quite cool. So they're like a glue dot, but they're in a line and very thin. So it's going to stick on really nice and sturdy. And we're just going to put those onto the area that we want stuck down. So I'm pulling this up a little bit, but I want to leave this little plastic film just on this part for now until I'm ready to put it down. You can also stretch out that glue dot. So if you put the end or the adhesive lines. So if you put it on something and then kind of pull it, it will actually pull to adhere. Okay, so we've got our adhesive on each side. Yes, they're very cool. Plus you can put them on your project and add like glitter or foil that you press down. Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L has really nice foil, and so you can use them as decorations. So if we turn this over, we can kind of see this is how we want our shadow box. And I tend to put it up just a little bit more higher than lower, because when you're looking at it, it's hard to show you in here. You, instead of being down here and having a gap, you want it to actually be able to view it, to make it look like it's the whole area. So I'm just going to look at this one. Okay. I'm going to take off one side. There's that stretchiness of it. I kind of caught it on the end of that. All right, we're going to take one side and we are just going to place it on our background, just very lightly, so that we can double check and make sure it looks okay, and that looks okay. I do realize I just forgot to color the rest of that lighthouse. Do you guys do that? Like you'll get doing a project and then at the end you'll think, oh yeah, I didn't color that. So that's okay. We can still come in and grab our color. So this is going to be yellow. This is real life crafting. And then we'll grab our red. And because this is just such a thin area of red, we're not going to watercolor that out. I did do the top of this, which maybe I'll add some watercolor on that. Even just for coloring things in and not watercoloring. So if you were using regular paper and you had some small images, these work beautifully. Okay, so we're good. We're back to adhering our project together. So we're going to press that down now, nice and firmly. And because we want it to shut, we are folding it this way. So holding it flat down, then we're going to remove this. Holding it flat, and then if we adhere it laid out flat, we know that it's going to lay flat to go in an envelope, and then we can pop it up, and then we can kind of just push it back and forth to make sure it adheres. And then we've got that on there, super easy to line up. I like things that are interactive, but I don't have to think too hard about them. All right, now we've got our cute little window box, and we are going to use some of these adhesive strips or foam strips, which are my favorite. And we're just going to pull off a piece, and then we'll just cut this to fit. Let's see. I also thought that this would look really cute if you had some little flowers. I did find some flowers, and that's what we're going to use on the front of this, in this matchbook set. And there is a video on I believe it's on the Creative Scrapbooker YouTube channel, where I've made one of these little matchbook set, and they're so cute. And I just didn't have it in front of me to show you. I will have to pull it out and keep it with this. But it had the flowers. So don't be afraid to go look in your other stamps for sets that you can use. So I pulled out these two and colored them the same way with those click art markers, but I thought those would look really cute in this, but I didn't do that today. But if you put some little flowers in the window box, would be sweet. And even if you wanted to add this little window box, if you had your picture and then you didn't want to have the shadow box underneath it, you just wanted to put the frame over top of a scene, that would be cute as well. And I need to try to line this up. There we go. You can press it down because that can move back and forth. Then we have these little stamps. So with the Matchbox, they have these little tabs that you glue on because then they can fold shut. It's really, those Matchbox sets are really cute as well. But I thought we'd just cut off those little tabs, and then we'll use, I've got the Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, the little small foam squares. So we'll put those on. And I really like that the backing comes off so easily. So these are, and it sticks really well, these foam squares. And Jackie linked the matchbook card. Perfect. That's on YouTube. And then we'll just overlap this, and it just kind of looks like there's some flowers sitting there, and then you can look, you know, you're looking out the window at the seaside. And then the last thing we'll do, let's move this stuff here. You need some stickles. I've been using these a lot. Like, who's been using stickles lately? They've been around forever. These are from Ranger, and it's little glitter glue, a little bottle of glitter glue. That sounds like a tongue twister. And I don't even know what color this is because it's not on the bottle, but it's the white, and it's got like these little iridescent sparkles. And I've been using it all the time lately. But I think when I first started card making, which was like 2004, I remember using stickles. So I find that it's just kind of fun to add a little dot, sparkly dot, and especially if you have flowers, then you can add it. We could have put that onto the card, as long as it's, you know, you're going to let it dry. So even if you wanted to kind of get in there and put that on, you could. And just make sure that it's dry before you go ahead and put it in the envelope. And then we've got the sentiment that was on the outside that we actually just cut. And then we can just color in our little flower. So this is just on regular white cardstock. Great for coloring in. You're just not going to be able to watercolor on it. So there's our pretty card. Loving that wood grain background. Yeah, Katie, I agree. Like, it's definitely one of the ones that I reach for the most. And there's all kinds of great colors, but I tend to just grab the iridescent or the white. So that is a look at that fun card using our Art Impressions ShadowBox series and the Lighthouse stamp there, and some zebra click art markers, and our Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. We've got those Prism Studio dies, and our bone folder, and our OLFA cutting scissors. So lots of fun things there. Thank you guys so much for stopping in and hanging out. Thank you guys. Thanks so much, Donna. If you haven't checked out the Card of the Month group, be sure to check in there. If you guys decide to make this, we would love to see it, and or see what you're doing with your art impressions projects. So always lots of fun. We're coming up to Carnival, which is in Calgary and Edmonton in April and May. So we are very excited about that, and anybody who's going to join us for that as well. And you can always check out the VIP group, which is amazing if you want to join a wonderful crafty scrapbooking and card making group. That's the Creative Scrapbooker VIP group. And our submissions are open right now for fall, I believe. It's fall, right? Time is just like going so fast. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. Hope you get to do some crafty things. Check out Jackie's links there, and thank you so much for hanging out. And we'll see you again soon. Bye.